Thornton Cline is one of the most accomplished multi-award winning writers and songwriters that I know. He has written so many books and published songs. In fact, he's written over 1,000 published songs, 150 recorded songs, and he's got over 32 books to his name. You don't want to miss this latest release of his, Who's Teaching Who. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Bridgetti.
Thanks for having me on your live show. It was really my pleasure. Your production is just fantastic. Unbelievable how you guys are pulling that off. So organized with segments and transitions and all those different things. Right in line with what I'm talking about in my new book, Going Live streaming your podcast to reach more people. Hopefully people tune in for our conversation. It's definitely worth the on-demand version, in my opinion, if I may say so myself. You guys are awesome.
I think this might be, I've been on over 24 different podcasts and radio shows in the last couple of months, and this has to be one of the most sophisticated, what the kids that I used to teach call bomb.com shows and presentations that I've ever been on. It looks fantastic.
I love your introduction. How professional. That sounds, I feel like I'm on a beautiful show here.
Folks, welcome.
Available wherever great books are sold near you.
Oh my goodness, Ross, thank you so much.
Thanks. This is one of the most fun interviews that I've ever done. So thank you, Bridgetti.
Big pleasure. Ross, take care.
Thank you.
If you've just joined us, welcome. You're watching Books with Bridgetti. Now, one of the things that you'll know about all the shows that I host is that we always share one or two tips with people because everything is done online these days, thanks to COVID. And I know that a lot of book authors have not yet gone fully offline. And I think it's just going to become part of what we do, is sharing books online. So one of the things that I can like to share with you as a tip is a lot of authors go live with their phones, and there's nothing wrong with that because our phones are just amazing. The cameras are fantastic. But if you are going live on your phone, here is a quick tip. Generally people will put their phone into portrait mode, but a quick tip is to turn your phone into landscape mode. Because if you've got your phone in landscape mode, you've got a bigger real estate. You can share your book, you can show your hands, and it's just so much more comfortable when you are trying to talk about your book and show it, or maybe even read about your book. Now, the other thing that I encourage you to do is, it's going to be incredibly difficult to do this while you're trying to hold your phone in your hand, hold your book, pay attention to the audience. So what you can do is put your phone on a tripod. There are various options. I've got the DJI Osmo here, for example, but any tripod whatsoever is going to make a huge difference. So put your phone on a tripod. It's definitely going to help you when you are going live. So without any further ado, I want to welcome my amazing guest. And there's just one quick more tip that I thought I'd share with you. It's what you can do is use a lavalier microphone, a lapel microphone, if you want your sound to be just a little bit better. So those are just a few quick hand tips I am sharing with you if you want to level up on your online appearance. My amazing guest today, Thornton Cline. Um, he is such an accomplished multi-award winning writer and songwriter. He has written over 1,000 published songs, recorded over 150 songs. He's published over 32 books. He has got and his stories that his mother signed him up for piano lessons at the age of 5, and he's just never stopped. He's just kept going after that. He's been nominated for Grammy and Dove Awards. He was with the Songwriter of the Year twice. He's got a platinum certificate for sales of over 1,000 records. He's recorded with some of the most amazing names: Gloria Gaynor, Engelbert Humperdinck, Ray Peterson, Sarah Gaines, and many, many, many more. He's got 8 #1 worldwide radio singles. He's got one #3 and then several other top hits on the charts. But today we're going to be talking about his Who's Teaching Who. I think it's kind of like a culmination of what's done over the years in his capacity as an amazing teacher. So let's welcome Thornton Cline to join us on screen, shall we? Thornton, it is just amazing. Now, I mean, you've been on the show. The Writers' Corner live show has been going for over 4 years now, and I think you were one of our very, very, very first guests over 4 years ago. And you've been on the show numerous times, which speaks to the volume of releases that you've had. So just a huge, big congratulations. And now you've just released the book, Who's Teaching Who. That's just so different from all the other books, because this is more your journey and story. Tell us a little bit about why you wrote Who's Teaching Who, and what it is for you to get this book out.
Well, so happy to be here, Bridgetti. Thank you. It's an honor, and it was an honor to be one of the first on your other show, Writers' Corner. And kudos to you being in the 4th year. That's quite an accomplishment. Love to be on your shows. Your shows are just so professional and so well put together and thought out. And by the way, good morning and good evening to all around the world. And you're from South Africa, me here in Nashville, Tennessee, which is Hendersonville. Well, okay. So I've been teaching for a long, long time. And actually, I just wanted to share some of the most heartwarming, funny stories that you'll never have heard before, only in this new book, Who's Teaching Who. The original title, by the way, was called Students I'll Never Forget. And the Virtue Publishing on the East Coast of the United States, or the States, loved this manuscript and signed me last year. It was in December. And they suggested that the title would be catchier if we said Who's Teaching Who, which I do. I bought that too. I think that's a great title. I don't know how you feel about it. I've had people say, well, is it Who's Teaching Whom? I said, no, it doesn't flow. Who's Teaching Who? And it's the heartwarming, funny stories that I've collected. And not only that, the stories are about gifts that the students have given me back, because it's not just about me sharing, giving and giving. It's what I have been given back to me from all my precious students. They're just amazing. I get so much inspiration from them every day, to write and everything like that, and to be.
How many years has it been now since you've started teaching music, Thornton?
Well, they say on my bio it's 40 years. I don't know if that's true or not.
Wow.
That's a long time. But
I mean, it's on the one side, it's phenomenal to think that you've been teaching for 40 years. And on
Uh-huh.
the other side, you sort of think, ouch, that ages me just
I know
a
it does,
tiny
doesn't it?
little bit.
Well, it does give me quite a bit of experience and knowledge, because I definitely could not do back then when I first started what I can do today and everything. And it really has changed my life, just the teaching. I don't know if many people, I don't know how many people realize that, but teaching is not just giving out everything, that we give. We are trying to change the future, trying to make it for a better place and better, and try to help the students, give them knowledge and power and experience, because knowledge is power, and I believe it is. And so that's what I wanted to share with everybody. These heartwarming, funny stories. They're all funny. Some of them are serious, but I've just been kind of keeping a log over the years of the funniest stories and the greatest stories. And these gifts, everything they've taught me, from patience to love. I won't give everything away, and kindness, but there's 17 gifts that are featured in this book, which is just amazing. And at the end of the book, I challenge teachers for a series I'm going to write, continue to follow up on this book, to submit to me their stories. And also at the end of the book, there's questions that I pose and asking teachers to consider. But it's not just for teachers. The book is also for parents and for students and past students and students to be and parents to be. It's or just in human beings in general. It's and so it's very, very universal, because who hasn't been to some school, right? I mean, and experienced education. So that's why it's very universal. See, and it can be applied to not just music. It can be applied to anything in life, any subject in life. Isn't that cool? Anything in life. Tennis,
Absolutely.
foosball,
Sure.
football.
You must have had many funny moments over the years, though. Can you tell us one of the sort of funny, memorable moments that you've had as a music teacher?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's just so many funny things. Let's see. It's not in the book, but just recently, I guess I'll have to put it in the book later. But there's this little 4-year-old kid, and he's playing the piano for the first time, and I'm teaching him "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star," and it goes, "Mississippi hot dog, Mississippi hot dog" is a variation of "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star." Anyway, so he starts blaring out for the first time. He says, "Drink more beer, drink more beer, drink more beer." And I went, "What?" And I said, the song is about eating, food, not drinking anything like that. But anyway, so, are you there? Yes. Well, anyway, so there's another story that actually was kind of funny too, that inspired me from one of my very first books called The Amazing Incredible Shrinking Violin. One of the stories that I had also, a little kid, probably about 6 years old, came into the studio and said, Mr. Cline, my violin is shrinking. My violin is shrinking. And, she never gave it a thought that she was just growing spurts. So I said, well, wow. I kind of played along with it. I said, this is really shrinking. We're going to have to do something about it. Try to get it to grow back again and everything. And so it inspired me for being able to write the book, one of my first books. You probably know about that already. It's The Amazing, Incredible Shrinking Violin. And the whole series was started just because of her comment and everything. And she was very concerned and worried about her little violin was shrinking even further. So she couldn't even play it, but there's a lot of funny, very, very funny moments. One time this little boy, I have some very, very, very dramatic students. Sometimes people that are into theater, instead of music. But and he was he experienced a lot of anxiety and everything. He played the piano very, very well, but one day he was coming in and he was just saying maybe he wanted to get out of class. I mean, I took his comment seriously, but he did say, he started holding his chest and he said, "Mr. Klein, now keep in mind he's 11 years old." And he says, "Mr. Klein, I'm having a heart attack. My heart's pounding out of my chest." And he started saying, and I said, "Well, maybe we need to take you down to the nurse and the doctor quick, call in." And he said, "No, I'm okay." But I think he was trying to get out of class or something like that instead of playing the piano that day. There was maybe some reason that he wanted to do it. But I do have a lot of dramatic theatrical students too.
I'm sure it makes for a lot of fun in the class.
Yeah, I mean, they do try to pull some things over on me, sometimes just to see, I guess, if I'm, I'm awake and I'm alert and I'm paying attention to what they're saying. Some really, really funny things. But the book is also, it's written about 17 different students who've given me different gifts too, and hopefully I've changed their lives too in many ways. And some are very there's one or two that are kind of heartbreaking stories too that I think will bring tears to people when they read it.
Yeah.
So.
And tell me, have you, I know a lot of parents, when they've got a child and they enroll them for music classes, they sort of feel, my child's going to be great at that or the other instruments. As a music teacher with 40 years experience, is it something that anybody can learn, or do you have to have an inborn talent for music, or can you teach anybody that wants to learn?
That's a very good question, because I do tell the parents, I say it's not a prerequisite to learning to play an instrument if you have not, if neither parent or guardian or whatever you call them, partners, whatever, have any training or have never played a musical instrument before. I really feel like that if a child is interested and wants to practice and they do know what they're getting into, they do need to know they need to practice. But I try not to call it practice. I try to call it playing the piano at home or playing the violin at home or whatever it is, the instrument. But they still have to put that little time into, to becoming better. But I feel like with patience over the years and understanding and nurturing the students, I think they've been able to accomplish much, on their instruments, even if they've never had any innate training or any kind of, or if it's in their DNA. I mean, there are some students that excel more than others. And I feel like they may have gifts, and not just talents, but actual gifts, like they were born with it or something like that. But other than that, I feel like there really haven't been many kids that I haven't been able to teach. Most all of them. Dr. Suzuki, who founded the Suzuki method worldwide, he says that he says that it's that he's never had a student quit. He said he's never had a student quit from him. All the hundreds and thousands of students he's had, he said it's always the parent that quits. It's not the student that quits.
That's an interesting thing.
Isn't that interesting? Because think about that, because it wears the parents down having to continue to ask them to practice and bug them or annoy them, whatever. But can you believe that? So after a while, some kids know how to play their parents too. I mean, really well, but like a fiddle, but they know how to tell them, that if they don't really want it, they're not into it, don't want to do it. They can wear their parents down or guardians down until they just, that's it. I've had it. I can't take this anymore. You know what I mean? So
I'm sure that can happen as well. So Antoine's got a very interesting question here. He says he's over 50. Is it late for him to learn how to play guitar?
No, it's never too late. It's never too late, Antoine. It's very nice. You're tuning in here and everything. Well, I'd like to find out where he's located, where he's watching from and everything too. But anyway, yes, it's never too late. It's always good to start early. The early, the better. The reason is because it trains your ear, to have a really good ear to hear, to play things. But it's never too late. And there's a book I want to refer to. It's by Peter Holt, Holt, Peter Holt, and he started at the age of 50, I think 56 or 57. The cello is one of the most difficult instruments to play. And he wrote a book called It's Never Too Late. And he practiced a lot and he enjoyed it passionately. You can do it. You don't have to do it as a profession. You can just start, and just do it for fun and for love, which is what I do. I actually teach. I teach for the love of music. I don't teach students to become professionals at it or anything like that. If they do become professionals. But what I'm saying is, he says the electric and acoustic. Antoine, Charlotte, North Carolina, awesome. I've been there. Love the city. Nice city. It's not too late to start, and I'd recommend I start all students on acoustic guitar first, not electric. Acoustic is the way to go. And you can learn how to you can pick the guitar, you can strum it like chords. There's different ways to learn it, to play it. Maybe you should find out what you want to learn it for. If you want to learn it for maybe if you should ask yourself first, why do you want to learn it and what do you want to use it for? So in other words, define your goals, what you want to do with it. And then I can tell you, I can tell you how to approach it. But I would try to see if you get some videos, on YouTube videos or some videos around the world you can see. They help you get started too, teaching videos, and then try to find somebody in the area that's maybe gives you some few private lessons would be really great. But again, Peter Holt, it's a book called It's Never Too Late if you want to check it out. And he started when he was 56. He practiced 3 hours a day or 3 to 4 hours a day. And listen, this is what's so magnificent about it. About 4 years later, he auditioned for the Philadelphia Orchestra, which is one of the top orchestras in the world. And it said at the time, that was like 20 years ago, he was making six figures playing the cello in that orchestra. Can you believe it? So
that's amazing. That's amazing.
And that's 20 years ago. That's 20 years ago, meaning that today it's probably 200,000 or 300,000. It's more. But
Wow. So realistically, if one is wanting to become really good at a musical instrument, how much of a time investment? Now, I know, for example, a gymnast, if you want to become a really good gymnast, you've got to put in a good couple of hours per day to master your techniques. So what kind of time investment would you need to put in if you want to become better than just doing it for the love of music?
For the love of music, I would recommend 30 minutes a day for a child, and for an adult, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Now, there's another great book on the New York Times bestseller list called The Talent Code. Are you familiar with the Talent Code? The Talent Code, it says that if you want to master an instrument, not for the love of it, just want to master an instrument, master gymnastics, master anything that you're trying to achieve, it takes 10,000 hours. And I know that I've already figured out, I've already put 30,000 hours into my songwriting. I know I've done that in my life. And I know I put probably in my teaching, I've probably put as many as 30,000 hours or 40,000 hours in my teaching and performance too. So isn't that interesting? So that would qualify you for a master of something. But to do it for the love of it, I would say maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day. I hope that answers the questions for Antoine. And if you want to contact me about that, feel free to. You can text me your email, and I'll be happy to send you something, information about it. So
yeah. So Thornton, I wanted to also ask you, this book, does that sort of cover your entire journey as a teacher, or did you start at a certain point?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the information.
You're welcome, Antoine. If you want to get in touch with me later, I think I can get you the an email address or something. I can send you some more information if you're interested. I'm always trying to help. This is what I believe. It's my personal journey, Bridgetti and audience. It's my personal journey. I don't want to be selfish and just hold back all the things I've learned and how to develop and everything in my music career. That includes songwriting, authoring, everything, and teaching and performing. I want to share and give and help the future generation. I want to help people, keep passing. What they say, pass it along or pay it forward or whatever that is. So that's what I want to do.
Oh, I love that. It's a beautiful motto to live by, to pay it forward, because you never know whose life you can impact
right?
along the way.
Mm-hmm. Right. So there was another question you just asked me. I think I didn't answer that. What was the question you had asked me? I think about, well, you did get that. I told you about the talent code. And
yes.
There are exceptions. There are exceptions to that. There are people that are what we call, and it mentions in the book, there's people that are actually gifted. Like, for instance, Mozart, who
yes.
Amadeus Mozart, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, who started composing and playing the violin at age 3. Now, there's no way, it even talks about this, no way he could have, he could have developed, he could learn 10,000 hours between birth and 3 years. Think about that, huh?
I mean, he was just one of those phenomenal people,
Right, exactly. So I mean,
and you just never know, Have you ever had a student that you discovered was really, really talented, unexpectedly? Have you got any one of those sort of stories you could share with us?
Yes, I had a couple of them. There's, let's see, the first one, and that's in the book, by the way. So I'll go ahead and share that. That'll be really good. There's a young girl that came to study with me at 7 years of age. And I didn't want to discourage her creativity. I like to encourage creativity. There are some teachers that teach by the book strictly, and they don't want you to get off the program. They want you to stay with the program. And that's fine. That's fine. But making up all these little tunes like I did. I started making up tunes when I was 5. My mom taught me the piano, helped me when I was 5 years old. And so she started making up all these little tunes with lyrics and everything. I mean, gosh, it's like amazing. And her mom was kind of a little worried, because she's not really staying with the program. And I said, nah, let's just go with it and see what. So I encouraged her to keep writing songs. Well, she stayed with me for a while, and there were some family issues and some personal issues. And so she had to move, and she wasn't here with me. I taught her for so long, I guess, until she was in her teens. And lo and behold, the next thing I know, I find out that she signed with Arista Records, which is a major label. I mean, huge label worldwide. Arista's in New York City. She signed with Clive Davis, who's a very famous, who's the CEO or president of Arista Records in New York. And next thing you know, she's got an album out, and she wrote the songs all herself. And then she was touring with Aerosmith and a large, huge group. She was on tour with Aerosmith. And so, next thing you know, she's become pretty famous. And, so those are the kind of stories like that, you don't see it coming out anywhere. I mean, it's just totally. And I've had students that have gone on to play in major orchestras, and they've gotten major scholarships, fully funded scholarships, and just, you name it.
Amazing.
I mean, I could say I had a part. I can't claim and say I am the only reason that she got there to that point. I could say that I helped her. I think I helped her and helped to contribute some of it in her life and affected her career, but I can't be the sole purpose. I'm the sole person that did that. There's other people along the way that helped her too,
Well, as they say, with anything in life, it takes a village.
Yes, it does. And I had a student also that I taught for a while, and he went on to perform live on American Idol, United States.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. So he was one of the final contenders. Isn't that pretty cool? So
that is absolutely pretty cool. Oh my goodness. Thornton, what would you say is one of the lessons that you've learned over the years from working with so many students. If you were to give some advice to new teachers out there, can you maybe give us one or two of your lessons that you'd like them to know?
Sure. I think it takes a lot of nurturing. Nurturing is one thing, and lots of love and patience with people, with students. And the way that I feel like it is, try to see their greater potential of what they will become if they were to stick with it. They were to stay with that musical instrument. Try to see their greatest potential in them, whereas others can't see the potential. A lot of us will look at a person to say, oh, that's what they're going to be. They're never going to be any more than this and this. And, I had a teacher discourage me, which was really sad. I had a teacher, and I think the teacher actually worked the other way and actually fired me up to say, I'm going to prove him wrong, but there was a teacher in my college, one of my colleges, that told me, after performing one of my works, a symphonic work that I wrote as a composer, when I was first starting, like I think it was 18 or something, and the orchestra performed it. And then he said he wanted to see me outside. And he saw me outside in the hallway, and he threw the score at me. He threw the musical score that I had written at me. It was very insulting. It was very hurtful. But he said that he advised me never to write music or songs or anything like that again. He said that I was wasting his time and everything. So isn't that incredible? That's like,
It is incredible, and look what you've accomplished. I mean, over the years, you've become a multi-award winning songwriter and writer.
Right. So if I had taken his advice, I don't know where it would be, but or what I'd be doing. But what I do want to say is, I think that's what I would like to say is, I like to encourage people. And how does somebody have a right to, a teacher or anybody have a right to tell somebody that they can't do something? You know what I'm saying? Like that they'll never be this or that. I just don't see that. But what I'm saying is, I want to offer hope, and not false hope, but just hope, realistic hope, and to be able to see a vision of where they might be later on. You see what I'm saying? Like their potential. So I want to try to help them achieve their fullest potential is what I guess I'd say. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Thornton, something that has always interested me is how you manage to just get so many work out there. You've got one book after the other. How do you manage to do that? Because I mean, teaching is a full-time job as well, and you've nurtured so many students over the years. How do you juggle all of this? Do you time block, your time to be able to write and teach at the same time?
Yes, I do. I have breaks in between my teaching, and I try to, what they call time management. I try to use every bit of time as efficient as possible. I know some people say that multitasking doesn't work. It depends, I guess, for each person. I do a lot of multitasking. I try to, what do they call it? Stream my time really well, manage it, and don't always do a good job of it, but, and try to, I do draw from a well of inspiration that I get from, my students. I believe that actually, that if I were not teaching at all or interacting with kids or people in general, I don't believe my inspiration would be as great as it is today, or any time during that time. I don't believe I would have all this creativity. I actually believe that the students have taught me and helped me with inspiration and given me a lot of inspiration to teach, and not only teach, but also to write songs and books and everything. Does that make sense? And it also comes easy for me. A lot of the books and songs come real easy to me. They didn't always, but they did come real easy for me to write because of that inspiration. And maybe perhaps because I've been doing it so long, like like I said, I put in 30,000 hours as a songwriter. And I don't know how many as an author, probably at least since I've been writing for about 10 years as an author, I'd probably say I'm getting close to the 10,000 hours as an author. But so I guess that's what I'm saying. It comes easier now than it did before. So it does make it not as, it makes it easier as far as productivity and everything. So.
And Thornton, who's been your biggest inspiration? Because, you have been such an inspiration to countless students. But who inspired you? Who's been your inspiration to keep going?
Well, I mean, I've had mentors. There's a mentor I had at Eastman School of Music. I went to Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York, and his name is Everett Gates, Dr. Everett Gates. He's passed away now. He lived to be 96 years old, and I'd say he was one of my inspirations. A mentor that would help me, because you don't find many mentors. He always encouraged me to write music and books and things like that. He actually helped me showed me how to get my first song published, which was really, really, really cool. And then also Dr. Suzuki, Shinichi Suzuki, as inspiration in my life, and my wife and family are all inspirations to me. My friends, and of course, higher power. And I don't want to offend anybody, but I believe God above too has contributed to, because I would never have had that creativity and get talent and gifts and everything without him. So.
For sure. Thornton, we've talked a little bit about your books. We're going to take a very, very quick break. I'd like you to also just share a little bit about the songs that you've gotten out, because you've some phenomenal albums that's been hugely successful. So we'll take a little bit of a break, and then when we come back, if you can just tell us about the songs that you've been able to share lately.
Sure.
Welcome back. You're watching Books with Bridgetti, and my amazing guest today is none other than Thornton Cline. Thornton, you've had a number of successful songs in a row. Tell us a bit about it.
Well, recently I just had my 10th number one song, which was exciting for on the Euro charts. It was very exciting. We celebrated it last week. It was with the Sisters J, a new group here in Nashville, Mary Elizabeth Jackson, with Mary Elizabeth Jackson. And so this song's called Open Wind. And I know you're familiar with that song, but just had our 10th number one, and we've had I've had number 3s, number 5s on the Billboard charts with Engelbert Humperdinck and Gloria Gaynor. And but I've had and I also have to say that the legendary Ted Perlman, you've had him on the show, I believe, or you've had him on the other show on Writer's Corner. He's
Correct.
Very instrumental in it, with it, as well as the co-writers I've had with different Mary Elizabeth Jackson, Lacey Carpenter, Ted Perlman as the producer, and then I had a song just recently. We went to number one. It was called "There Will Come a Day," and it was 4 weeks at number one with Billy Gaines. He's a two-time, twice a Dove Award winner, and has had Grammy nominations and very successful. And that made his 8th, I think it's seventh number one song, which was great. So yeah, it's really been very, very exciting in my life, and I had no idea that it would actually come at the latter part of my life. That's the fun part about it, isn't it, Bridgetti? That you think you're ready to quit your life and retire and give it up and everything, but then suddenly you have a resurgence of, your whole life just takes off again, so, and I actually didn't have any I've never had any number ones until just a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, #1 singles. I've had #3, #5 in all in the top 10, on Billboard. But that's, so it's just really exciting. So
I'm sure it is, and to be able to work with people like Ted Pullman, I mean, he's just been hugely successful, and instrumental of getting, internationally successful. Some of the greatest names out there. He's worked with, and so anybody is out there and they're wanting to get to that sort of league, what would your advice be to them?
Are you talking about for writing songs or singing or performing or what avenue? If you're talking about writing the songs, I would say to try to find a mentor, somebody that you really respect and look up to, and they don't even have to be living. They could have passed on, but somebody that you're really respect and study their music. I would study a lot of great songs and songs that are hit songs. That's one way to learn first before you go at writing. And then because some of the great artists like Van Gogh and all, they copied other artwork, before. I'm not saying they stole it. They just copied other people's greatness before they became great too. And so that's what I would do. I do a lot of prep work and studying a lot of different people instead of just a lot of hit writers, instead of just trying to start writing and everything. Then I would start. If you're talking about songwriting, I would try to start co-writing, because co-writing teaches you a lot. I've learned so much from co-writing with people over the years. Because you get instant feedback, instant input rather. So, and you can find some great songwriters on through the performing rights organizations like ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, SOSCAN, all the different performing rights organizations. Also, the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, which is the Grammy Association. You can find great writers to write with and things like that. That would be my recommendation first, before you even. And I would do that for several years before I even decided to try to get a song, try to get it published first, and get it recorded. So, because you're also studying the format of the song and how the song is structured and all that. So that would be really important to do, and understanding how to write a song, a hit song, right?
That's amazing. Thornton, I wish you so much success with Who's Teaching Who. It's the other question I wanted to ask you is, who designed that cover? That cover of Who's Teaching Who is gorgeous.
Well, thank you. It was the editor. Her name is Lindsay Wells is her name, and she's the editor who I work with. It's beautiful. It's like striking, really striking to me. I'm thinking, wow, that's really brilliant. Because when you see the apple, you think of teacher, and then you got the piano keys, which is one of the things I teach, piano. But I loved it. The company is called Vertu, Vertu Publishing, and they're located on the east coast of Nashville. I mean, not Nashville, on the east coast of the United States, and they're an up and coming company. So I just happened to be pitching it to I pitched it to them. What I mean is I contacted them to see if they might be interested in publishing, and they do everything. It's totally like the way it's a traditional publishing company. You should, first of all, I want to say you should never pay anyone to publish your book or anything like that. Don't ever do that. Let them pay you. So they pay me. They paid me, and they also put out a beautiful video. By the way, I don't know if I think I sent that to you, but there's a video that they put out about my book, a little promo video, and they're pushing it hard. They're working it hard. So I want to thank Vertu Publishing.
I think they've done a phenomenal job, and so we'll play out with that video that they've compiled about your book. And I must say, as you said, I was thinking the same thing about the apple. You always somehow have this association with an apple and a teacher.
Isn't
So
that
I
true?
think that was
I'd say it's universal. Wouldn't you say so? Universal.
it absolutely is universal. So if you are watching us over on Amazon Live, the book Who's Teaching Who is in the carousel. If you're watching us anywhere else, the book is available on Amazon. It's a stunning, stunning, stunning cover. And maybe I'm a little bit partial towards red. It's one of my favorite colors, but I was instantly attracted to that cover. But I think it was that beautiful red apple, on the piano. It's just a gorgeously done cover. Thornton, before we say goodbye to everyone, did you have a final thought that you wanted to share with everyone before we say goodbye? We're going to play out with that beautiful song.
No, I just wanted to say thank you for being hosting the show, and thank you for inviting me. It's always honored to be on the show. And but I want to say, I just think have patience and understanding and encouragement. I just want to try to encourage all people, either in songwriting that want to start out in songwriting, or authoring a book, or teaching or performing. It's hard. It's not easy, but you have to do it from the passion of your heart and love of it. So that's, I want to say, I encourage you to continue with it. So.
Absolutely. So final word, everyone, don't give up on your passion. You're watching Books with Bridgetti and our amazing guest, Thornton Cline, and we're playing out with the promotion of the book, Who's Teaching Who. Stay well, everyone. We'll see you again next time.